Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. Today we will be starting with the fifth chapter, surface chemistry. Right? Uh, now, particularly surface chemistry. What does this surface chemistry means? When you are having it as any kind of a chemical reaction carried out on the surface of the molecules, like if I say it that if I take this pen, dip it in the water, if I dip it in a water, where the water will be trying to react only on its surface, can you say that water will go inside the surface? No, this in on this pen that's not possible that the water can penetrate into it, right? So what does it shows? That whatever the kind of reaction, whatever the kind of forces are going to be there, they are going to take place only on the surface of the molecule, and therefore such phenomena which it deals on the surface of the molecule is considered to be as a surface chemistry, right? So particularly the definition that we write it for the surface chemistry, it is a given out, the definition is written as surface chemistry deals with the phenomena that occurs on the surface. It deals with the reaction that occurs on the surface, right? Now, when we are talking about it, that the reaction is taking place on the surface, that means there will be the two different components that are taking part in the reaction. One, it's getting on the surface, and the another one, surface itself. For a moment ago, we gave it as an example. It was a pen on which was dipped in the water, so water was reacting on the surface of the pen, right? So we are having it as in two phase, right? Two components, right? In the surface chemistry, we consider that it deals with, it is represented by two components. These are termed as two phase. We write it as two phase, right? Apart, even we write it as two bulk phase, right? The two components, two things are taken in bulk, so we write it as two bulk phase, which are shown by hyphen or slash between them. That is, if I am having it as in solid and liquid, we represent it with a hyphen, or we also write it as solid liquid, right? Either by a slash or by a hyphen, right? Here I took it as in two phases. In the one is in the solid state, one is in the liquid state. Generally, whatever we will be studying it, majority of the reactions, in majority I am saying it, not all, right? Majority of the reaction that we are going to study, in which we are going to have it as a solid, as in one of the common phase. One phase will be always solid. Second phase will be in the gaseous form or in a liquid form, right? So you would be having, one is a fixed solid, another one may be in the liquid or a gaseous state. So whatever the examples, whatever the surface chemistry reactions that we will be come across, majority of we will be having in solid liquid or solid gas, right? Okay, now if I want to go it for the reaction, as already we told it that we are having it as in pen, I'm going to dip it in the water. At that time the water needs to react with this pen. Is it going to react with the pen? Can you say that the water will be there on the pen? We know it. The answer is no. There won't be any water molecule left on the pen permanently, right? So that means they are having it as in weak forces. The water will be there on the pen. If I hold it vertically, water will drop down, or a small particles only on certain surface places it will be there. Rest of the space we will find out that it's a free, right? What is the reason behind it? The reason for it, we can say that this surface do not have any pores present in it. The holes, the voids, the empty space, nothing is present. That is known as pores. Particularly for surface chemistry we use the word pore. No pores are present on the surface of it. As a result, what will happen? Nothing can get absorbed or nothing can get attracted onto that surface. As a result, we don't have molecules. If rough surfaces are there, more molecules will be get absorbed over there. More molecules will remain on the surface of the molecules, right? But if I'm having smooth surface, that means everything is been filled up. No pores are there on it, so nothing can be absorbed. So whatever the reaction, if I want to carry it out, even on in small pore size components, then what is necessary? It should be quite clean surface. Nowadays it is possible to produce such type of an clean, neat surfaces of the metals where the reaction can be carried out. So for that, what is required? We need 10 raised to minus 8 to 10 raised to minus 9 Pascal. This is the amount of the pressure that should be applied onto the surface, so that this in a vacuum, this pressure is applied in a vacuum. So whatever the things are there, it's been removed from the surface. Everything is removed from the surface. As a result, what will happen? A small pores or big pores, or depending upon the particles that have been removed from it, the pores can be created, right? For that case, if I give you a simple example where you can understand that what we want to see from this, you know it that you are using an eraser, a rubber, to erase the written things by the help of the pencil. Nowadays, those erasers, they are covered with a paper on it and then a plastic on it, right? It's a complete, if I'm getting it new from the market, I'm getting it as a paper and a plastic wrapped on it. If I say that without removing that plastic, you have been asked to go for the erase the things, is it possible? No. What is necessary? If I don't remove the paper, will do, because a small portion is left out open. But if the plastic, the wrapper, polythene, which is wrapped on it, polythene, if that polythene is not removed, it's not possible to erase the things, right? So it's necessary that that polythene should be removed. The moment the polythene is removed, the smoothness is created. Rough portion is created on the rubber. Similarly, if you have been asked to use the pen on a polythene, can you write it with the help of the pen on the polythene? No, it's difficult to write it with the help of the pen on the polythene, or even on your photograph to get it signed. It's difficult to sign it with a normal pen, for which we need it as a photo marker pen, which is having it as in roughness, the particles which are very small in size, which can remain on the surface, right? So that kind of an surface reactions that differs. So in that case, we need it as in, what we are doing it is, we are applying certain pressure on the metal. I am talking this for the metal surface, not for every surfaces, right? If from the metal surface in a vacuum, 10 raised to minus 8 to 10 raised to minus 9 Pascal pressure is applied on it, the molecules are been removed. Now this metal has to be kept in a vacuum only. If I put it open into the atmosphere, what will happen? Immediately that pores will be get filled up by the oxygen or nitrogen from the atmosphere, and that pores will be filled up. So that is kept into a vacuum only, so that the reactions, whatever the kind of reactions we want to carry out, can be done on it, right? So that can be used to clean the metal surface, right? Okay, once we are doing it like this, we are producing a metal free from all the things, and on the metal we can take it as a now different reaction on it, right? Okay, now the process that happens, the moment what we are talking about it, when two different bulk phases are brought together and whatever the reaction is carried out on the surface of it, that is known as adsorption. So the definition of adsorption is given out as the accumulation of molecular species at the surface of the bulk phase whatever the reaction is carried out onto the surface. Now it can be solid or liquid. Gas cannot be, gas also can be a one of the bulk phase, but we are not taking such type of an example. Already I told you initially also that we will be having it as a certain bulk phase, and majority of the things we are going to take it as solids only, not even a liquid as an example, but still we are having it as the bulk phase on which the molecules get adsorbed. It's known as the adsorption. Now when we are talking about such type of things, we get it as two different bulk phase. We will be having it as one as a solid, one as a liquid, or we wrote it as a solid liquid. So in that case, the phase, the component or molecular species which are getting adsorbed on the surface of the bulk phase is known as adsorbate. The one which is getting adsorbed onto the surface, we consider it as an adsorbate, right? In short, these are not an homogeneous mixtures. We studied second chapter, homogeneous, equally distributed throughout. Everywhere where we see it, we will be getting an equal molecules, right? Equally spread throughout. We consider it as a homogeneous. Here you can say that this is heterogeneous. For the solution, we say that we are having solute and solvent. One is solute, one is solvent. But because this is not an homogeneous mixture, we can't use the word solute and solvent for these two bulk phases. So we use the word, you can say it as solute means adsorbate, the one which is getting adsorbed on the surface. In the definition of the solution, we wrote it one which gets dissolved, that is was solute. In place of that, what we'll say, the one which gets adsorbed, that is known as adsorbate. Component on which that means it's a solvent, right? The component on which molecular species are adsorbed, it's considered to be as a adsorbent, right? For this, the one we took it as an example of pen and water. Pen is adsorbent, and the water which is getting adsorbed, it's known as adsorbate, right? So that is a one of the particular example. You can have it as a different type of adsorbent. You can say it as charcoal. When we take it as a charcoal, the different colors get adsorbed on the surface of it. Then such type of components, they are known as adsorbent. The component which we told it as in a poisonous gases, maybe their color, maybe there may be different components that is getting removed or getting stuck down to that charcoal. They are considered to be as an adsorbate. Particularly if I say it as in silica gel is also one of the example. Aluminum silica is also one of the example. We will discuss how these are considered to be as an adsorbent, adsorbate, or how the process of adsorptions are taking place. We'll take it with different examples, right? We'll try to understand the three components: adsorption, adsorbate, and adsorbent with the help of different examples, right? Let's take it as in one by one the few of the examples so that we can understand the complete concept of surface chemistry as well as what is adsorption, what is adsorbate, and what is adsorbent, right? Okay, the first one, the gases like O2, H2, HCl, right? We can say it as an NH3, Cl2, etc. Number of gases are there, right? When etc. they get adsorbed on charcoal when placed in closed container. So what will happen? When I take it as a container, either of the gas is filled and already the charcoal is placed inside it. What will happen? The pressure of these gases, the pressure of these gases reduces due to adsorption. Due to adsorption of gases on charcoal, right? Because of it, what will happen? The gas will be adsorbed onto the charcoal. The pressure inside the container will be reduced. So here the gases. So here gases are adsorbate. Charcoal is adsorbent, and the whole process which is carried out, that process is considered to be as an adsorption, right? Another example, activated charcoal. Now see, this is different than the routine charcoal. Routine charcoal means a coal. You can say that is prepared from the plants, that is obtained from the earth crust in the form of the plants that are buried, or you can say that a wood which is incompletely burned and we get it as a coal, that is considered to be as a charcoal, right? I am not discussing at present the same charcoal. Here I use the word activated charcoal. Activated charcoal, the another word is also used for it as an animal charcoal. That means the charcoal that is obtained by bones that have been of the animal bones that have been buried or been burned, and they are converted into charcoals, right? No doubt, I know it that most of you would have not till now seen or visited to the any buried stations where the human bodies are burned or buried, right? Because still your parents would have not been allowed you, but some of you might have visited only as a visit to some places like that, or just with and for an enjoyment you might have gone through with some students, right, with friends or like that. But those who have visited over there, they would have seen that even when the humans are burned, as in Hindus we know it that we have been burned after our death. After our death we have been burned. So at that time what happens? Bones, they are not completely burned or converted into ash. Some of them are removed, they are taken it, and then just by cooling it, and then by the different Hindu these vidhis, they have been uh, poured into the rivers or some specific holy places, right? That is known as Asthi Visarjan, right? At that time what happens? That Asthi that is being taken, they are nothing else but the bones, unburned bones or not completely converted into an ashes, such type of bones are there. So when these type of bones are there, they are considered to be as an activated charcoals, right? Or these are going to work as an adsorbent. They are going to get as an adsorbent. It's not necessary that every time it will be in human bones only. It can be any animal bones. We know it that all the animals, we are not taking it and burning it or burying it. They are remaining into the like forest, in a deep jungles. The animals, when they are killed by the another animals, carnivorous animals, they don't eat their bones. They just take their flesh. So at that time what happens? The bones are exposed to the atmosphere, then later on they are just buried into or get deposited or broken out or burned, or some process has been done and they get into the earth's surfaces. When those bones are coming out in the form of charcoal, then they are considered to be as an activated charcoal. These activated charcoal, when organic dyes, for an example, if I write it as in, for example, methylene blue. Actually, it's a blue colored liquid. It's a blue colored liquid. Now, organic dye it is. It's an methylene blue. When passed through a powder of animal charcoal, the filtrate obtained is colorless. Actually, I poured colored liquid, right, onto an activated charcoal and then allowed it to be filtered out. But the residue, the filtrate that I am getting it, the filtrate which I am getting it, it's a colorless. Where is that color? The colored particles which were present into a methylene blue, they get adsorbed onto the activated charcoal. So here the colored components or particles, they are adsorbate. Your activated charcoal is adsorbent, and the process adsorption which is carried out, because of which the colored liquid is becoming colorless, right? Okay, same thing by using activated charcoal. by using the same activated charcoal. We can say that uh, activated charcoal when allowed it to be present in raw sugar solution. In raw sugar solution, the color of sugar is removed. Particularly, if I want to understand this example, what I will say it. Activated charcoal means what? We know it. The coal. If its powder is taken, sugar is obtained from where? Sugarcane juice. Have you seen the sugarcane juice? It's an yellow color, right? Juice, when I'm going it in the summer and asking for the sugarcane juice, it's the person is peeling of the juice from the sugarcane, and we get it as in sugarcane juice. It's a yellow color or pale yellow, right? And when I'm eating the sugar, and it's told that sugar is obtained from sugarcane juice. When I'm taking sugar, sugar is in the form of solid, as well as it's a white, purely colorless. It does not have yellow color. What is the reason where that color had been changed? So during the process, during the preparation of sugar from sugarcane, the process is done in which the color of the sugarcane juice, that is yellow color, it's been absorbed by and charcoals that have been added, charcoal powder that has been added in it, and as a result we get it as an extra pure white sugar, right? To understand this, you would have been seeing the advertisement in a day-to-day life. What type of an advertisement we are seeing it today now in the, that is particularly in company sugar is there, sulfur free. Particular an example, I am saying it. It's the advertisement is saying it as an sulfur free. What does it mean? Was the sugarcane juice containing sulfur in it? No. Sugarcane juice does not contain any sulfur in it. Right? It's a chemical process during which to remove the color, to remove the impurities, to convert the liquid into solid and left out to be remain in the form of solid for a longer duration. The process has to be done. Different types of process has to be done, right? And during that process, when you are having it to remove the color, one of it is the component which is used, right? And that is the reason why it is told that it's a process of adsorption that is being carried out. Similarly, you can see that you would have seen the silica gel. I don't know, in a plastic water bottles that are or in capsules, the medicinal capsules that are getting in the bottles. Some few medicines are there. They are capable of absorbing water from the atmosphere. So to avoid them to react over there, a small bag containing some particles that are placed in it. You would have seen it like that. But that particles are nothing else but they are the silica gel balls. They absorb the water, whatever the moisture is there, they absorb it, and then they do not allow the component to react over there. Then such type of silica gels, they are also doing what? They are absorbing water. So silica gel is absorbent, and your moisture, water molecules that are in the atmosphere, they are going to act as an adsorbate, right? So such type of process are taking place. Right. Now I told you an example of the silica gel. I took it as last example. The reason was silica gel, what is doing it? Is it getting moisture? Is it getting wet? Is it getting converted into solution? No, that bag can remain over there for the longer duration. What is the reason for it? Now when it's going it for the adsorption, they are absorbing the water molecule and they are not allowing the capsules to react, or they are not allowing the electronics item to come into contact with the water, or they are not allowing the water bottles to get in bad order. The moment they are exposed to the atmosphere, immediately a reverse process is carried out. That means the water molecules are separated from the gel. The process in which the reverse process, that means the separation of the two bulk phases is done, that particular process is known as desorption. So that means these reactions are going in for both the directions, forward, reverse. Forward is considered to be as an adsorption, reverse is considered to be as a desorption. The process of removing adsorbate from the surface of adsorbent is known as desorption. So that means if I say it, forward reaction, it's a adsorption, then your reverse reaction will become desorption. Forward is adsorption, then reverse reaction will become desorption. Right? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Still we are having many things to discuss. This particular chapter we are going to get it like an oral discussion or minor things that are there, like definitions or some examples will be written on the board. Majority will be as an oral explanations. Right? For today this is enough. In our next lecture we will further discuss about adsorption or its properties in our next lecture. Till then, thank you.